is when I was younger, I used to have Stupid Kid and Private Eye and stuff, and all of my mixed compilations and stuff like that. And you guys kind of had influence on the stuff that I listen to, and I wanted to know what it feels like to have that sort of influence on people, like that people enjoy a band so much that it shapes the kind of person they are.
It's it's really surreal. I mean, I grew up, you know, like the some of the people that, and I'm not trying to gloat or anything, but it's really crazy to be, you know, growing up punk rock and metal kids, and you know, just like music fans. I was in like jazz band and stuff. We were all raised on music and always loved it. But to like grow up wondering, like watching, you know, the Ramones or like Social Distortion, for me anyway, like the bands that I would go see, the first punk shows I would go see, and I would watch performers and wonder like, God, what would it be like to like have that sort of adoration from, you know, and what would it be like to be that person? And you know, to be able to do that is it's very, very surreal, and it's something that you know, luckily for us, I think we were all raised right. We're all I think pretty nice guys and very like present and very grateful. So it's I don't know if I'm answering the question, but I think that it's you know, it really is like an honor to have to be in a position where like the Misfits, it's like it still affects us. Like when we soundcheck, we're playing Misfits and Ramones songs and stuff, and like you know, Derek's friends with like, you know, Misfits guys from a young age, and you know, I'm only saying that because it's like now those are our peers, and it really is with risk of sounding cheesy, living a dream. I mean, it's I said this to Dan last night, you know, playing rock and roll for a living, and especially punk rock, because you're drawing kind of more of a troubled sect of people, as we are, you know. I mean, we're all fucked up in our own ways, and punk rock was something that saved my life. And when to hear someone say to any of us, I think I'd speak for all three of us, your music saved my life, or your music helps me through my bad times, or helped me through a breakup or whatever. It's very emotive, and it's very special and wonderful. So it's something that through time some people would think it would wear off, and it only just gets stronger and more beautiful.
Do you think there's a sense of responsibility then in the sort of the music that you make, because you do have an effect on people? So there's like, you know, yeah, you have that, you know that you will influence them in some way. Does that go into the writing, or is that conscious in how you write music?
Not for me personally. It's hard enough for me to just write a song. If I started worrying about that, I'd never get anything done. You know, I hope people continue to like it, and I mean, the responsibility that I feel is to these guys and to the connection that we've made with the fans over the years, because that's the most important thing. But in terms of like how you phrased it, I don't feel that.
Okay. And the sort of flip side of that, because that's some sort of nice stuff, is there any difficult bits about being part of a band, especially for this sort of length of time? Is there any bits that you sort of struggle with?
It gets harder and harder to be away from home, you know, just because we get older. When we started this band, I couldn't even legally drink. You know, when I joined the band, I couldn't even legally drink in a bar in the States. I was, you know, as a kid. And now, you know, I'm 36 and I've got family, and it's just different. But what's kind of incredible is that, you know, playing the shows and coming back here and doing things like this, like never gets old. So we're still having a great time, and that's why we're still doing it. But in that regard, things change, life's changed. It's been a while. So
Been a while, huh?
it's been a while. Yeah, but it's you know, we're still stoked. So.
Do you feel like over the length of time, do you feel like the way that you approach music has changed from when you were like early on, when you were, you know, when you were just kids in bars and things like that, to now? Do you feel like your approach to it's evolved over time?
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, hopefully we've grown as people and musicians, and but I think the the basic, like the seed of like the music comes from a very honest place. So when it's not contrived, you know, only so much can change. Yeah, we listen to different types of music, you know, than we did. You know, even a couple of years ago, there's always new things influencing us, books and movies and all kinds of, you know, art. But aside from that, I feel like since I've been in the band, at least we've kind of gone about like writing music in the same fashion.
Are there elements of that way back when that you kind of miss? Like maybe the smaller venues or the sort of the more rough and ready touring, things like that?
We're lucky in that we, you know, sometimes we'll do, you know, when we're in the States, like a West Coast run up California, and we'll do it in a van, you know, and by do it I mean have sex with each other, and then we go to the show. But yeah, I mean, we still get to, you know, I know like a lot of bands, like Green Day, for instance, like they'll play surprise shows because there's something really, really special about having that intimacy and that immediate, like, rebounding energy. And of course, playing big places, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. It's awesome. But there's also something to be said, a lot to be said for being so close to people, and that it allows more for an element of like how, you know, going back to the shows we would go to as kids, you know, seeing Green Day in places where, you know, like when Kerplunk came out and it was like 300 or 400 people, if that. And to have the choice to go back there, like if we want, last time we were here, I think it was last time we played, what's it called? The Barfly. Last time we did our own tour here. And, you know, it was a choice. We wanted to play a smaller show for, you know, ticket winners and, you know, people that just got to the door early or whatever, and it was like a $5 show or something, I think. Or maybe not, I could be eating crow right now, but regardless, it's nice to have the option, and we do it as much as we can. You know, we really love like being in the van together, and, you know, having to like pull over to go to the bathroom, like on the bus. It's like, it's rad having beds and a toilet and refrigerators. We can cook on the bus. Definitely for long touring, and the older we get, it's a luxury that we really appreciate. But yeah, I mean, it's really fun to go back and play the small like punk rock shows, and so we get the best of both worlds. We're lucky in every regard.
How do you find touring? Like, do you enjoy the travel aspect of it? More like, I mean, the shows obviously will be ace, but do you, the traveling aspect of it, do you guys enjoy it?
Well, like Dan said about one of the other questions, it gets a little harder as you get older and you've got families and houses and, you know, more stuff than this at home. You know, I don't know that any of us enjoyed like, you know, long flights and jet lag and all of that stuff. But as far as seeing new places, and, you know, especially in regards to the UK, a lot of cities that we've been to time and time again, that we now have friends, you know, in these cities. We've met people over the years, promoters and people from local bands. And, that's great, you know. I mean, I would say that's one of the biggest perks of doing what we do. You know, not only do I get to see the world with my best friends and play music for people that want to hear it, you know, we get to keep in touch with, you know, all these great people that we met over the years. So, and see amazing things. You know, it's great to go to new places and see the sights and, you know, the different cultures and whatnot. So yeah, the travel is like, it's just part of it, you know, and you can either be bummed out by it or, you know, embrace it and enjoy it.
So, going from that, if you couldn't do this now, like if you couldn't do Beat Harder and you weren't doing this, is there anything specific that sticks in your mind that you're doing at home, like sort of close to your family, or any sort of, whether it's creative or whether it's a job?
Oh, that's a good question.
I went to school. I went to art school after I graduated high school barely, and studied graphic design because I was already playing in bands, but like I wanted to design record covers and like book covers and do that kind of stuff, layout sort of stuff. And So that was initially that was the plan. Like I could finish get my degree and always. I mean, this is the wonderful thing about what we do is it's something we would be doing anyways. We love what we do, and it's in us. So like for me, the fallback plan was designed. But now that we have been a band for so long and for me, living in Los Angeles, I started working on screenplays. I started kind of doing some stuff more in like the film aspect of the arts. And, for me, I do a lot of painting, so I'll do gallery shows with friends and stuff like that. Not for a lot of money, but if I didn't have this, I would probably be painting quite a bit more. Or I would probably be writing a lot more, so I would definitely be involved in the arts in one way or another.
Do you find that with this with music evolving from a hobby or a hobby sort of choice, do you find that you picked up other hobbies because this has become a job?
All my hobbies have kind of evolved around music, but I mean I've gotten way more into like how things work. I work on all my own guitars now for the most part. When we're not on the road, I do a lot of that at home. I like guitars a lot. Sort of started collecting them. I've got too many from my house, and that kind of thing. I've gotten really interested in that.
Again, like hobbies, they all kind of revolve around the band. Out of necessity, early on, it was. We needed somebody to, design the website, and somebody had to figure out how to do, the recordings for demos, and Dan and myself and Matt too. We all sort of figured out how to do that stuff. So, and going back to the other question, I guess if I wasn't playing in a band, if I wasn't actively touring, I'd probably be doing something else in music, producing, engineering or something like that. So yeah, most of the hobbies revolve around what we do.
Do you have any sort of guilty pleasure like music that people wouldn't expect you to have like you were saying you were jazz earlier, like if you really into jazz?
I actually am not, and it wasn't like like jazz is a strong word for what we were doing. It was like because there was like the marching band, and then they called jazz band. We would play more like old like pop hits from the day. Even sometimes like some Motown stuff or whatever. I played saxophone and it was really fun. Like it was what?
Jesus Christ Superstar, things like that. That's what we did in jazz band.
Like, well, yeah, we would do like show tunes and like we learned how to play like Brown Eyed Girl or like just like different like I remember our teacher let us pick a song and we all wanted to learn how to do that. So we played that at like one of our concerts, So it was like really fun. Like there was still like an element of like kind of rock and roll and elements of jazz, but I'm not really a big jazz guy. I don't have any guilty pleasures because I think that if you like something, there's a reason for it. You really shouldn't feel bad for it, but I catch your meaning. And like Neil Diamond is someone that I adore that I think maybe some of our younger fans might be surprised by, but I grew up on Neil Diamond and Elton John and stuff like that because of my parents. So I still like love Duran. I love like a lot of the stuff when when MTV was a big thing and they had like of course 120 Minutes kind of took when it was right around when we were getting into punk rock and quote unquote alternative music, post punk or whatever you want to call it. When MTV was, I loved Poison. I loved like the David Lee Roth videos, like the story, like the story. It wasn't just like guys in like an old like airplane hangar playing or whatever, and like some like industrial thing. It was like there was a story to it. So I was really into MTV. Like I was a total end product of like the MTV generation, and I loved like Beastie Boys, and I loved anything that was popular that was like kind of threatening and cool. NWA is in my top 5 favorite bands of all time. So I have an NWA tattoo on my wrist. It's like, I think that might, you know, surprise some people, maybe not, I don't know. Public Enemy. So I think I speak for all of us. It's like if it was good and it spoke to us on one level or another, and for me, like the more threatening, the better. My parents are really fucking cool, and you know, my mom. I was listening to Too Drunk to Fuck by the Dead Kennedys when I was like 10 or 11 years old, and my mom came in my room and was like, "What is this you're listening to?" And I was like, "Oh, it's the Dead Kennedys," and she was way more bummed about it being called the Dead Kennedys because she lived through the Kennedy tragedy, and she was more bummed about that than she was that her 11-year-old son was listening to Jello Biafra singing Too Drunk to Fuck. But I always liked things that were unsettling to like the status quo, and like NWA to me, it's not punk rock music, but it's punk. It's the same mentality of fuck you. You know, we won't stand for it, and that's not comparing us to any of that, but that's what, you know, spoke to me anyway. So I always just dug, you know, I didn't care if it was popular or not, you know, like that Kelly Clarkson song, Since You've Been Gone, is one of my favorite songs, and it's undeniable. Everyone knows that song. It's, you know, so there's a lot of things that I think we all really like, a lot of different things, even really goofy, weird, silly Weird Al Yankovic, huge fans. So it's all across the board. If it's good and it's smart on some level, or even, you know, if it's not that smart but somehow something great came out of it, we're fans.
My final question for you guys is, if you got to recommend a band right now, like if there's a band out there you want to show that I love to or whatever, who would that be at the minute? It can be famous or it can be underground, it can be indie or
Baroness is not a. For some reason, I keep running into people that have never heard of Baroness, but their last record I think is amazing, and I think it deserves to be listened to by more people.
Yes. Baroness is great. There's a band from Ohio I really like called the Sidekicks. They're getting ready to go make a new record, but their last record is called Awkward Breeds, and it's pretty, I think it's amazing. I'm not sure that too many people have really heard of it, but hopefully soon, because I think they're great.
Oh, what was I was just thinking about this. What did I hear recently that I've been really into? Like, I really dig The Knife. I really dig The Knife. It's good. It's good headphone music. Like just kind of, you know, like whether I'm at the gym or like walking around or whatever. It's just like it's good. It's kind of poppier, and then on a more kind of artist, like, not that The Knife isn't arty, but Fever Ray, the girl that sings for The Knife, also has a group called Fever Ray that their live show is one of the most spectacular things I've ever seen. One of the creepiest, most beautiful things I've ever seen. So Fever Ray for me is like something that I was like, God damn, this is something else. Like, I went to their show, not so familiar with their music, and I was completely blown away. I mean, the place was packed. So I think, like, for me, that's like the first band that comes to mind for me, Fever Ray, and The Knife is her other band that's a little more poppy.
Okay, brilliant. Well, thank you so much, guys. I mean, I could keep firing questions at you forever, but yeah.
Right on.
That was great. Thank you so much.
Back then, I take back every word that I said.